Well, hello, welcome back to Furious Driving. It's not snowing anymore, the rain has come and washed the snow away, and it's mildly almost a bit warmish, which is a good thing. So today I'm going to go into the garage, well I'm in the garage with the Rover V8, where I'm going to do a bit of work on the engine some more because I can lean over that and only get the lower half of me wet, which is better than freezing to death. Before I get cracking on though, I've got a little project here for this end of the garage, which is kind of the workshop end, because I realised I had a spare number plate plinth lying around from the Quentin, the convertible, when I changed the old one of these over because I'd broken the back off it to get into the car. I then had this thing looking around and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had some proper Furious Driving branding in here? So I had a quick word with my friend at Perfectly Printed Plates, who makes show plates as well as correct plates, and he knocked me up this, which is rather cool, don't you think? Now he's also doing you guys a favour as well. Now let me just double check this to make sure I get this right. If you go follow the link in the description to Perfectly Printed Plates and use the code FuriousFeb21, you can get 10% off on his website. This is not a kickback to me, this is because he's a friend of mine and I would like to do him a favour, and he has done me a favour with this fabulous Furious Driving number plate, which I'm going to find a home for on the wall. I had thought I'd stick it just here behind that, but that's actually slightly higher up. I need to have a bit of a reorganisation really. So hopefully these will stick on better than they did on the back of the car itself when I had to do a random drill hole. So this I will try and line up as accurately as I can. Get it right way up. Don't put things on upside down, that's always a good thing to do. I have had a lot of comments over the last couple of weeks saying you need to get yourself a unit or a warehouse or a barn or something. Believe me, I am trying. But everything is taken at the moment. There's a lot of stockpiling before Christmas. So warehouse space is at an absolute premium, especially here in the southeast right now. So nothing is coming up. Oh, look at that. Whoops. That is so cool. Right, now my plan, when I move this car out of the way and I can actually get to the ceiling and the wiring, because this is very much in the way of all that, that is going to be hardwired into the light switch, and I'll put an LED batten in the top of here to have number plate lights lighting that up. Very cool indeed. For the moment though, that can live. Oh, I found a home for these buses that came on last month's junk in the trunk mail slot. I didn't find homes for everything else yet. The Alpha GT did find a home in my office indoors. Live up here for now. There we go, so that will be in the background of all future workshop shots, and eventually I'll move it onto that wall, or possibly when we get a unit of some sort, that can be in the back of all of those shots as well. It's a small thing, but I like it. I might just cable tie that up to the wall so it doesn't fall. There we go, bit of branding for the channel here in the back of the garage. Yeah, just need to get a couple of maybe some stickers. If any other channels want to send some stuff in, that would look quite cool up there. Hiding that bit of hole in the panel there, that would look good. This is very cool indeed. Right, now let's carry on with some actual stuff. And I do need to find somewhere for the buses to go again now. That was looking quite nice a minute ago. Now while we're on the subject of number plates, what do you guys think of this? A 3D gel plate for Quentin the convertible, so get a little bit of a bulgy texture, because the car's quite angular, but these are kind of a soft top. I was thinking these might be quite suitable, might look quite nice on these. Let me know what you think. This is a demo plate, just to sort of get an idea of the look. The bumper's going to get painted as well as the front. The whole front end is going to get painted, so I won't fit them until that's done. But yeah, what do you reckon? Reckon that'd be quite a cool thing? Let me know in the comments. So back into the V8 engine at last. Now I have located where the dipstick should go. It should be sitting, I don't know if this can actually get this or not, it should be going here in the top corner of the where the engine number is stamped. That'll hold just there with a little bracket of some kind to hold it in place. However, I have no clue where the actual dipstick could be. The Range Rover dipstick, which came with this engine, I think I weighed that in last time I did a scrap metal run, but I cannot find the 3.5 litre dipstick anywhere. I'm sure I didn't throw it away. It must be somewhere. Did find the alternator, that was in the boot, so that's one lucky find. I'll bung it on in a second. What else have we got to do? Oh yeah, the exhaust manifolds. Let's do this quickly, because someone said they'd had a similar problem with a tubular manifold as well, and they'd actually used a scissor jack to stretch it out, so I'm going to give that a quick go. So I've got the two manifolds lying one on top of the other. I'm starting with the left-hand edge. These two over here do line up pretty closely. The one on the bottom is the one that does fit. The one on the right, at first glance, looks like it is correct, but then you look a bit closer and there's just a slight offness just there. Actually less so on the outer one. If I pull these over to the other side, obviously we do have a similar situation where those two are lined up pretty well and these ones are back a bit. I will give it a quick go with the scissor jack. It might not work, but I've got nothing to lose here. Right, I've no idea if this is going to work or not, but no, I don't know if this is working or not, or it's causing me more trouble down the line. Top to top. Well, do you know what, that has actually kind of put that in the right place. But I bet you if I undo this, it'll spring back. Do you know what, that does actually look like it's worked. I would never have thought that would actually succeed, but it does appear to have been good. I'm going to see if that will go on the car. Oh, I've just been very briefly interrupted by the DPD man because I don't know if you saw on Facebook or Twitter yesterday, I managed to smash my new Nikon Z62. I was on an old tripod and there's a little thing so you can have a quick release plate, so you can take the camera on and off the tripod quickly, and where that fixed onto the tripod, that fell in half, or the metal had kind of worn away and it just fell out while the camera was on a tripod. You think it'd be the safest place possible? It wasn't. Anyway, Nikon have been the heroes of this whole sorry affair, and they've fast-tracked collecting it because I'm in their kind of Nikon professional club. And yeah, so it's off to Kingston upon Thames to see if it can be fixed. Do you know what, that's not there all the way, but it's definitely closer. So I've left the other manifold on the medieval torture device that is the scissor jack, trying to stretch it out a little bit more. When it's on the jack, it is actually wide enough to fit on the car, but when I move it onto the car without the scissor jack pushing it, it's springing back into its old shape. So there is hope, but we're not there yet. Meanwhile, I will refit the one I did the other day. Again. So it's got half an engine's worth of exhaust on here. I do like these very shiny ARP nuts and bolts, or bolts and washers I should say. Give it quite a nice look on the car. Where's my little spanner gone? Let's quickly nip these things up. I've just realised though, then my little pot of lovely shiny nuts and bolts, I've only got 6 left, so where are 2 of them? That's really annoying and very weird. And now we have the fun of the power steering pump bracket. Wow, can I make a sentence any more exciting than that? Right, this all goes down in here. Oops. Attaching through the water pump, so I'm hoping this water pump is okay because I don't want to have to take this off again. And I have just obviously put this nuts and bolts just out of reach beyond the camera, because that's how you do these things. Right, so the spacer goes between. Now, which way around did the bolts go? There's a short one and a long one. I've forgotten which one was which already. Okay, let's try and remember which way around these all go. I think these are both the same length. I should have videoed myself taking these off because then I would know which order they went back on again. But that would have been sensible. Now you may be wondering what these extra wires that are dangling out of the distributor to the coil are. That's because this car had got a aftermarket electronic ignition thingamajig inside the distributor from many years ago, so I hope it still works. That changed the ballast resistor situation inside the car from memory. I'm hoping it still works. I can't remember how it worked, it was so long ago. Now I kind of prefer it without all the extra bits on the front, to be honest. It looks so much cleaner and nicer before you start adding all the stuff. Now, I did have this big cardboard plan of the front of the engine. I've tried to use as many of them as possible, but also used a bunch of the new ones from the newer engine where they're a bit nicer condition. But I can't get that bottom one in this timing cover to go back in again. It will not bite into the thread, which is very odd because it unscrewed quite happily. Just looking down the side of the engine, there's also a blanking plug that goes into the flywheel that I need to go and find from somewhere as well. Lots of odds and sods really. Slacken these ones off again and see if there's a reason that bottom one won't go in. Well, that's interesting. Now that side bolt's done up, I can't drop the front one. Over the last few months, I've largely been ignoring this project because I knew it was all just really annoying fiddly stuff where I could spend an entire afternoon working on 2 or 3 nuts and bolts and making no progress, so the videos are really slow moving. And I've tried to kind of, well, just ignore it and work on other cars where I can do fun and exciting stuff where you can see things happening for that exact reason. But yeah, I've got to get on with it and do it. Otherwise this car's never going to run. Oh, why don't you do up? Please do up. It'd be really handy to have a timing cover that's attached to the engine. Yeah, it does not want to go in at all, I don't know why. Right, let's try the bottom one again without the bracket. Yep, that goes in. Brilliant. Is there a longer one that I can fit in there? That's too long. That's slightly longer, that might do it. I think that's too long. I did buy a set of these sort of nice hex head bolts at one point, but none of them really matched up to the correct length of what I was trying to do here. It was ridiculous. Let's try that one. So trying this with a different bolt that's just ever so slightly longer, but will it be actually too long for this hole? It's too big a thingy. Ah. Yeah, there's 1 14 and 3 13s, sorry, 4 13s, which makes things really annoying. From bolting to aluminium, I'm also terrified of stripping the thread as well. So I'm going quite gently on this. Aha! That appeared to work. So maybe that one was just a little bit too short. I don't know why this has got an upright on it, but it has. Washers, I'm sure, would do equally well. Right, just that little side bolt. There are meant to be 2 side bolts on there, but you actually can't get the lower one in there once the engine's in the car. If I bolted this on when the car was not in the engine, or the engine was not in the car, makes more sense, I could have put both bolts in. Now, something I don't remember if I actually said when I was doing the last video about this engine the other day, I'm not convinced I've run my throttle cable in the right direction because there doesn't seem to be any kind of action on it. The mechanism works, but the cable doesn't have any pull. So I've got a feeling I've run it the wrong place. Cool, right, it's done. So we've now got bracket for alternator, bracket for power steering, all good. Power steering pump. Now, oh my god, that's heavy. That is so heavy. How on earth do you fit on there, power steering pump? Because none of your pulleys seem to match up to anything inside the engine bay. So yeah, that can sit on there. And there's nothing for that to go onto, unless there's something on the front of this. Must be something on the front of here, I guess. I do also need to finally unscrew that because the old power steering pipe sheared out cleanly. Might go and do that now, actually. Apart from this being the heaviest item I think I've ever lifted, I've no idea how it's so heavy. This was actually a little bit overkill putting it into the vise because it's already only finger tight. I must have done this on a previous occasion. Never mind, I'll leave it in there so I don't get dirt in there. So I've not actually bolted the alternator in yet. I've lost the bolt that's meant to do that. It will sit just there, and running not a cable, a belt around here, that does give me about the right kind of length. But there's like no clearance at all on the plugs. They're bumping against the front of the rocker cover, and also I'm guessing I'm going to have to put that around the power steering pump like that as well. So I thought there was maybe two belts for that. It must just be only one. But even like that, that does feel like the front belt, the belt is pulling forward off the alternator. I'm not happy with this. So I've got 2 bolts bottom of this thing, which click in down there, that's all logical. But then where does this one click onto? I don't have a third bracket to attach this to anywhere. Where does that go? So now the question is, how does this all fit together? That's got a ridge in it, so that has really got to go on the inside that way around, I guess, which puts this pulley in line with nothing else. Unless it goes that way around. But then where does the power steering belt go? That can't be it, because it's not possible. It has to go that way around. Oh. I'm not overly fussed about having power steering just for driving the car up and down the drive while I'm making the thing work. However, but it means I've got to get a different alternator belt if I can't make it work. It's all basically a big jigsaw with no photo on the front of the box, so I'm kind of guessing where everything goes, which is less fun than it sounds. Okay, and it doesn't even line up properly once you put the bolts into it. This is brilliant. Now this is really odd because when I line up this power steering pump with the bracket, it seems to sit flush and in the right kind of place, or at least along the bracket. Put the bolts in though, and it suddenly goes completely skew-if, and the brackets don't line up anymore, so I'm not quite sure what's going to go. And secondly, the other problem with this is that even if it was bolted in tight against the bracket, what does this pulley go onto? Because the pulley down here, the belt would go up to about the middle of the pump. This one is going somewhere near the fan, nowhere near the alternator either. This is, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing with it, which is really frustrating, it has to be said. I've also got to find out where this bit of pipe here goes. I assume these two go to each other. That would make sense. Right, I'm going to get a bit of cardboard and start making a list of what I need to do still. Potentially this could start almost any day now, but it's not going to. Right, so let's make a list of the things I still need to do before I can fire this engine up, because we're so close, it hurts, I can taste it. So, first of all, we need to do that dipstick. I guess I'm probably going to have to buy one. I'll search the shed again one more time, but I suspect I'm going to have to go and buy a new one of them. Exhaust manifold. That actually is bending virtually to the right place, but it keeps springing back, so maybe if I take it to like a machine shop or somewhere, they can bend it out for me with a bigger press of some kind. So that is virtually there. I need to get a blanking plate for that down there, so that's what the flywheel blank plate, and I need to get a blank plate down there. I did make a blank to go on this thing, didn't screw it on, and now it's gone, and that's what the timing cover blank. Then I need to mount the alternator and the power steering. Need to fit the radiator. Then the downpipes, I need to fit downpipes onto the exhaust, but that's not a biggie. Well, it's a Y pipe, isn't it? So it's just really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 or 9 things to do really, and we're kind of there, and the car can run. It's so close, but it's so frustrating as well because I don't know where or how these should look. It's more research time, then I can go and get this bit done. It's just niggles. As I said in previous videos, it is basically niggles that are holding me up at this point. If it wasn't for the niggles, the car will be running. Oh, fuel line. I need to run a fuel line because I need to get petrol from that point there, which is going into the engine, from this point here. But I can leave this filter in here temporarily because that would be a good thing to do in order to stop blockages of dirt from the petrol tank, which has been sat for a long time. So I'll just get a bit of fuel line from there to there as a temporary fix. The question is, someone may know this, this is a BL style filter, so it's BL style fuel coupling. Does anyone know the name or the size of this nut coupling here? because I cannot find one. If I could find one of those, I could make a nice line to go from there to there, and it would look a lot prettier. And that would be better, really. Right, so this is my starting the engine list. Can you see how short this is? But at the same time, how frustrating. Oh, fan's in the boot. Yeah, can you see how short and frustrating? Oh, this pipe here. That's, what do you call that? The advanced retard pipe. Advanced suction pipe. Okay, so we're nearly there. Every time I look back, oh, and the throttle cable, throttle linkage. So this is my list of things I need to do to get this car working. If someone was here who knew what the front of this bracket area should look like was here, then we could probably have this buttoned up in an hour or so. And then the car would be virtually ready to go. So frustrating to be so close and yet just stuck from, well, lack of information, basically. Anyway, nearly there. Hopefully, maybe the next video or two, we'll get this thing to actually start, which will be a major event. Okay, cool, right, thank you for watching. Next time, we might actually do this thing.